city and global news. First, the headlines. NSCDC in Rivers discovers illegal bunkering sites in cemeteries. EFCC plans arraignment of Yahaya Bello fixes June 27th. Tinubu experts bill proposing return to regional government on Friday. NLC says no agreement with FG over minimum wage. 1.5 million pilgrims ready for Hajj rites in Saudi Arabia. NFF president pledges action after Super Eagles wars. Chris Brown cancels club appearance after stage mishap. And now the rest of our stories. Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has discovered illegal crude oil refining sites at the cemeteries in Abalama and Oproma communities in Asauto local government areas of Rivers State. The security outfit said the feat was achieved by its Marine Anti-Vandal Squad after a 4-hour operational tour on water across two coastal communities. NSCDC spokesman, Rivers State Command Superintendent Olufemi Ayodele, said his operatives successfully uncovered the illegal bunkering sites through credible and sustainable intelligence, while the NSCDC Commandant General Dr. Ahmed Abubakar Audi gave a marching order to all formations in the Niger Deltas to step up intelligence and operational efficiency in the fight against oil theft and illegal oil bunkering activities. He expressed worry about how the miscreant devised a new means of converting cemeteries to illegal bunkering sites, saying they had already loaded several illegally refined crude and refined automated gas oil, also known as diesel, on boats by the riverside. He also said on citing his operatives, the hoodlums took the hills, though they were given a hot chase, pointing out that the men of the Marine Anti-Vandal Squad are on their trail to ensure they are arrested and prosecuted, adding that NSCDC, as an environmentally friendly agency, condemns outrightly all acts of environmental pollution, degradation of aquatic life, and economic sabotage. Hundreds of students of Rivers State University in Bolu Oruworuko, Port Harcourt, staged a protest on Thursday over alleged brutalization of their colleague by officials of the man of war in the institution. It was not clear what the offense of the 300-level student of sociology identified as Victor Tobin was, but it was gathered that he had worked on the pavement of the man of war office located near Hostel F on the campus on Wednesday morning, which angered some of the personnel, adding that while the undergraduate asked what his offense was, they continued beating him and inflicted injuries on the student, leading to a cut and a swollen right eye. On Thursday morning, the news of the battering of the student spread across the campus, and immediately his colleagues gathered at the man of war office to demand why Tobin was subjected to such human rights abuse, leading to a protest stressing that they would not stay and watch any of the colleagues manhandled for any reason, and demanded the immediate disbandment of the local security outfit in this institution over what are termed as gross human rights abuses. The protest was said to have disrupted a meeting of the university's management and the students' union government over the issue, as the students allegedly threatened to attack the personnel if they didn't leave the campus, while president of the student union, Abiye Pepo, said he got wind of the incident through one of the students and condemned the action of the man of war. While the acting registrar of the institution, IBS Harry, in a statement on Thursday confirmed the attack of the students, saying management had convened an emergency meeting with the student leadership and the accused personnel to get to the root of the matter. Commissioner of Police by Bayelsa State Command, Aloyenu Francis Idu, has confirmed the killing of the manager of Plateau Rider, a just-based road transport company in Yenegua, Bayelsa State. The manager, identified as Awula Aliyu, was shot and killed at about 8 p.m. on Tuesday around the House of Assembly complex at Marata, Yenegua, by suspected assassins who allegedly made away with the money he made that day. While the killing spread fear in the state capital as residents sought answers to what they saw as deteriorating security situation in the state. While addressing journalists on Thursday in his office in Yenegua, the Commissioner of Police, Aloyenu Idu, said an investigation is ongoing to unravel the circumstances surrounding the death, and assured that the family of the deceased would soon get justice, as the police were conducting investigations in both Bayelsa and Plateau State, saying that there was indication that the perpetrators could be from outside Bayelsa. Idu also said the police have deployed drone technology to tackle criminality in the state. In Edo State, the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, says the government will pay government workers' salary on June 14th ahead of Salah celebration. The governor disclosed this during the inauguration of the state secretariat complex in Benin City, the state capital. He also said he will be paying the salaries for June on Friday, 14th of June, ahead of the Salah celebration to enable Muslims have a good Salah. Police Corporal Buba Adamu has been arrested after he was transferred from Cross River State Command to Kaduna State Police Command in 2015 and refused to report but promoted himself to the rank of superintendent. He was alleged to have used the uniform and rank of superintendent to carry out illegal activities in Calabar, the Cross River State capital. The suspect has been operating as a mobile police officer without reporting to any specific command since 2015, while the State Police Command effected his arrest and has been in detention. The State Police Public Relations Officer SP Irene Ubo confirmed Adamu's detention, adding that Adamu has since been drawing his monthly salary, even though he never reported to his new station. Chairman of the Abia State Chapter of the People's Democratic Party, Allwell Asifuru Okeri, has congratulated people of the state on this year's celebration of democracy. The Director of Defense Media Operation, Major General Edward Buba, said troops also released those not culpable in attack following preliminary investigations, adding that 9 soldiers were killed in June alone by non-state actors across the country and did not provide the exact number of suspects in custody, which is said are assisting the military in the operation. This is coming after suspected IPOP and ESN specialists, separationists had on 30th of May 2024 attacked a military checkpoint at Obikabia Junction in Obingwa local government area adjoining Abia Metropolis in Abia State, while the military high command later in a statement confirmed the death of 5 soldiers and 6 civilians in the attack and vowed to retaliate fiercely. General Buba, 2 weeks after the attack, said troops conducted several intelligence-based operations that led to the discovery and disruption of several IPOP and ESN terrorist campuses across the regions such as Ibori Forest, Arochukwu local government area, among others. Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo has advised governors and others elected officials to fuel the impact of the crisis on the new minimum wage to reflect the current reality of Nigeria. He said contrary to the flamboyant lifestyles portrayed by governors and elected officials, the country was facing a dire of financial crisis. The governor spoke at a special edition of the platform to promote national development, said Nigerians' economic woes are exacerbated by the extravagant lifestyles of government officials, which are sustained at the expense of the nation's wealth, adding that the poor and hungry are impatient and urged governors nationwide and other elected officials to cut wasteful spending. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, arranged with the vision of the late MKO Abiola, the adjourned winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. Sanwo-Olu said former President Muhammadu Buhari deserved commendation for naming June 12 as Nigerian Democracy Day in recognition of Abiola's struggle for democracy. Represented by his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Habzat, the governor spoke at a program held at Abiola Crescent, Ikeja, Lagos, to honor the memory of Abiola, organized by Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, and the Moshood Abiola Mandate Movement. While speaking, Hamza said the June 12 event made many persons lose faith in Nigeria, and it was significant that Tinubu chose a mantra which, she said, aligned with the Hope 93 slogan used by Abiola during his presidential campaign in 1993. Governor Sanwo-Olu's Chief of Staff, Tayo Ayinde, and the Lagos State Commissioner for Information, Benga Omotosho, said were also at the event alongside the Managing Director of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Abimbola Akinajo. Businessman Mohammed Abdullahi has accused policemen of the Zone 2 Command and Lagos State Police Command of mishandling a case of robbery that made him lose his car, money and valuables worth 21 million naira when armed robbers robbed him and his neighbors at their residence in Awoyaya community in Ibeju-Lekki area of the state. This is coming after Abdullahi, a realtor in several posts on X.com, sometimes in May and June 2024, lamented over the loss of his valuables and how the police did nothing meaningful to track down the suspect behind the robbery despite providing overwhelming evidence to them. In one of his posts, Abdullahi said during a recent conversation with the realtor, gathered that he was at home with his friend Juliet when 3 of the 5 robbers who invaded their building broke down the door of his flat, gained entry into his parlor and room and robbed him and his guests of the valuables at gunpoint. During the operation, Abdullahi said one of his neighbors informed the landlady who notified the police in Area J Command, adding that despite their intervention, no meaningful progress had been made to track down the suspect, adding that he was the one who later went to flag the car, and to date, he still receives a alert whenever the vehicle was charged for a traffic offense, among others. Abdullahi also said the team lead introduced him to someone who demanded 500,000 naira to handle the case, adding that he paid the person 150,000 naira, but he later returned 70,000, showed him some paperwork, and said he couldn't continue the job. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has abandoned its earlier request for a change in the date for arraignment of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello from June 13 to June 27th without informing the defendant's lawyers. A new date, June 27, had been reportedly fixed for hearing in the alleged money laundering case instituted by EFCC against Bello at the instance of the anti-graft agency's lawyers. At the resumed hearing, counsel to Bello, Adeola Adedipe San, told the court that EFCC lawyers approached Aliyu Abdullah Wahab San, who is the counsel for the defendant, that the June 13th date would not be convenient for them to proceed and that Wahab had to agree by way of convenience for another date to be set. He said he was surprised when he heard that EFCC lawyer Rotimi Oyedepo, the court has fixed June 27th as new date for the arraignment. Federal Capital Territory Police Command has paraded 6 suspects who specialize in registering subscriber identity module cards with other innocent citizens' identities and selling them to criminals. FCT Commissioner of Police Bennett Igwe said the suspects sold the SIM cards to criminals between 3,000 naira and 5,000 naira, while a total of 1,100 registered SIM cards, 3 registration machines, 2 fingerprint machines, and a mobile phone were recovered from the suspect. Igwe also said 4 different numbers could be registered using the national identity card, while the criminals used street SIM cards vendors to obtain the details of unsuspecting residents who buy and register SIM cards simultaneously, adding that the suspects used street SIM card vendors to obtain details of innocent residents, including their national identification number, from those who patronized them. The Commissioner of Police also said a gun runner identified as Ikechuku Didi was arrested with 7 automatic bomb action shotguns and 1,000 rounds of live cartridges. Troops of the Nigerian army have killed an infamous terrorist, Baharin Yadi, one of the alleged deadliest bandit leaders terrorizing northern Nigeria in the last decade. Overseeing Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Kaduna State, Samuel Aruwan, said the troops of Sector 6 Operation Wall Punch rained down fire on the kingpin known as Buhari Alhaji Halidu and his cohorts, terminating their spell of terror. Aruwa said the troops began the covert operation in response to intelligence reports on terrorist movement from Samunaka, Salawa area of Katsina State, adding that the troops found the settlement destroyed and cattle killed, including evidence of recent criminal activity by the bandits. According to him, the merciless bandit was also known to have links with other deadly terrorist groups in the northeast and northwest. Taraba State Governor Abu Kefa has commenced the payment of compensation to landowners in Wukari Local Government Council of the state. The beneficiaries, numbering 182, are owners of the land, while the Federal University of Wakiri. This is coming after the landowners had dragged the state government and the management of the University of the State High Court to the State High Court for alleged refusal to pay compensation for the lands which were acquired from them 12 years ago. Confirming the commencement of the payment on Thursday, landowners' lawyers PM Shangna said the payment is being executed in phases and explained that the governor is committed to paying off the debts acquired by previous regimes. stressing that he has approved and released funds for the commencement of payment to the beneficiaries. He also confirmed the commencement of the payment. The Secretary of the Beneficiary Association, Bawa Baaku Bawa Adi, said the present government responded to their plight by releasing funds that had since been disbursed to beneficiaries as first installments. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Kano State Command, has arrested 2 persons suspected to be street light cable vandals. A statement in Kano, the command spokesman Ibrahim Idris Abdullahi said the suspects were arrested by operatives on the surveillance of critical infrastructure and assets. Federal High Court sitting in Kano has ruled that it has the jurisdiction to preside over the case of human rights violation brought by the deposed Kano Emir Aminu Ado Bayero and the senior councillor Aminu Baba Dan Agudi, following the reinstatement of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II. The court had granted an ex parte order stopping Governor Abba Kabi Yusuf of Kano from reinstating Sanusi, pending the determination of a substantive suit filed against his reinstatement, while the order also kicks against the abolishment of 4 emirates, Buchi, Gaya, Karaye, and Rano, in a bill earlier passed by the State House of Assembly. It directed all parties involved to maintain status quo ante pending the determination of the suit filed by Sakin Dawaki Baba and Aminu Baba Dan Agundi, while Justice Lima granted leave to the plaintiff applicants to issue and serve their concurrent originating motion as well as other court processes on the seized defendants. Inspector General of Police in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, after the jurisdiction of the court. The other defendants in the suit are the Kano State Government, the Kano State House of Assembly, the Speaker of the State Assembly, the Kano State Commissioner of Police, as well as the Inspector General of Police, the Nigeria Security Defense Corps, and the Department of State Security. Justice Lima also said all parties are ordered to maintain status quo ante in the passage and assent of the bill, stressing that parties are hereby ordered to maintain status quo ante pending hearing of the fundamental rights application. You're watching the Global News in Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask, oh?
Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so no day. Light usa. The infrastructure it can't turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, quell everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
I can't hear you. I will call you back.
That behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadehi Foundation, the Marketer Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract where we do that time now? They don't pay.
Hey! But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap am.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer na house I supposed pay that one. You remember say me I tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy na.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. This is a Global News and Atlantic Television Network. And now to the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu will on Friday receive a draft bill seeking a return to a regional system of government for Nigeria. The proposed legislation, authored by a chieftain of the Yoruba Socio-Cultural Association, Afenifere Akin Fabohunda, entitled A Bill for an Act to Substitute the Annexure to Decree 24 of 1999 with new governance model for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, seeks, among others, new extant laws to be cited as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, new governance model for Nigerian Act 2024. This is coming after the bill was disowned by the House of Representatives, whose spokesman Akin Rotimi and the Chairman Committee on Rules and Businesses, adding that he had not been listed for deliberation in the ongoing moves to review the 1999 Constitution as amended. Meanwhile, Fapohunda, who also represents the Coalition of Indigenous Ethnic Nationalities, said the organization is proposing the division of the country into 8 geopolitical regions with the approximate interim boundaries, adding that the coalition envisaged a 2-tier government, federal and regions, adding that the latter would be at liberty to manage her affairs, including the creation of the sub-entities based on the stipulations that are agreed upon and embedded in their respective constitutions. In its proposed governance stipulation in the quest for reconfiguration and downsizing, which is an option to consider what might be to retain the present boundaries of the 36 states as would have been adjusted, but to creatively downgrade the periphery of political administration, including the introduction of a new regional government framework with executive and legislative functions and bodies with the headship title of Premier. President Bola Tinubu says what he did at Eagle Square on Wednesday while celebrating the 2024 Democracy Day was Dobale. Dobale is a Yoruba term for prostration, and he did not sleep and stumble to the ground as many might have interpreted it, but did what every traditional Yoruba boy would do on stage on such occasion, Dobale. Cameras captured President Tinubu stumbling as he climbed a parade vehicle during the June 12th celebration at Eagle Square in Abuja. This is coming after the prominent Nigerians who have reacted to the incident, the presidential candidates of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, when Peter Obi said that it is natural for any man, no matter how strong or feeble, to sleep at one point or another. Yesterday being June 12, 2024, Nigeria marked the 25th Democracy Day under the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu renewed hope agenda. President Tinubu, who on his speech admitted that Nigeria is currently faced with economic hardship, which is in desperate need of reform, promised Nigerians that he will always listen to people and will never turn his back on Nigerian citizens. Our Abuja correspondent Joseph Moses went to the streets of Abuja to find out if Nigerians still hope on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government to survive.
Coming in as the president of Nigeria in 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu set up an agenda called Renewed Hope Agenda for his administration to work with. According to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Renewed Hope Agenda is a transformative policy thrust aimed at repositioning Nigeria. The Renewed Hope Agenda is also to foster a new Nigeria society based on shared prosperity, tolerance, compassion, and the unwavering commitment to treat each citizen with equal respect and due regard. He again said that standing on the foundation emplaced of his administration, he shall make basic health care, education, housing accessible and affordable for all. In another point of his speech, he said, and I quote, "Governing Nigeria is a sacred trust I do not take lightly. I shall give it my best," and unquote. Now, 1 year is gone out of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 4 years of governance. And yesterday was June 12th, Nigeria's Democracy Day. In his speech, he said,
"As a president of this nation, I am morally and constitutionally bound to preserve this precious form of governance. I vow to do my utmost best to protect your rights, freedom, and liberty as citizens of Nigeria. I understand the economic difficulties we face as a nation right now. Our economy has been in desperate need of reform for decades. It has been unbalanced because it was built on the flawed foundations and over-reliance on revenue from exploitation of oil. The reforms we have initiated are intended to create a stronger, better foundation for future growth. There is no doubt that the reform has occasioned hardship. I feel your pains. Yet there are necessary repairs required to fix the economy over the long run so that everyone has access to economic opportunity, fair pay, and compensation for his endeavor and labor. As we continue to reform the economy, I shall always listen to the people and will never turn my back on you. I take on this vital task without fear or favor, and I commit myself to this work until we have built a Nigeria where no man is oppressed."
Let's speak to Nigerians to hear whether President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has actually fulfilled his promises made for the past 1 year in office.
Comrade James, one of the things that Tinubu achieved so far, number one, he was able to hold to the pressure of NLC. What did I mean by this? I'm a very pragmatic person. I've been Tinubu increased that minimum wages that NLC are clamoring for. We will end up buying one loaf of bread, 10,000 naira, because the economy will just crash. Okay, now, why I gave him kudos for that is that civil servants are clamoring for that kind of high money, what of the conventional or ordinary Nigeria who is not doing anything? When the bread went to 10,000 naira, what are they going to eat? So that is one of his achievements. Then again, I actually expected more from him, but along the line, I don't want to say that he's not meeting up the expectation. I want to believe that he's coming up, because Nigeria need more. Our economy is crashing, and we need to revamp that economy.
My name is John Nantem, a common man. You know, in terms of this economy we're passing through, according to my own opinion, he couldn't have touched this fuel price first until he take an action in terms of this refinery, fix one among these old ones, or do a new one. Okay, if you ask me that, okay, maybe like Nigeria is having challenges in terms of financial issue, or they borrow money they haven't paid. When you look into the whole thing, all this money they retrieve from all these people that stole the money, we are hearing it. They recover so millions, they recover so millions, they recover so millions. All those money could have channeled to one refinery to make this fuel price cheaper for poor masses. Because a common man in Nigeria, the only thing he benefits from government is this fuel subsidy. It makes transportation easy for them, and security. So he could have worked on that. In terms of this food price, this food stuff that is expensive now, this fuel price contribute to it. Because if you carry your corn, maybe rice from a farm, they are telling you, okay, you pay 10,000 to bring it to town to sell. If you transport it to town, definitely, instead of you selling it 5,000, you have to sell it 15,000 to cover up the expenses.
I'm by name Suleiman Garba. Actually, we are disappointed. I cannot say we do have hope, but we are disappointed. If I can remember correctly about the manifestation of the president during the campaign, is renew hope, I think, to transform Nigeria. So I talk about the transformation. I don't know what exactly the transformation this administration is going, because things are getting worse and worse. Let me be frank to you. I cannot see things I know are going to get better. Maybe in future we do have hope for that. But actually the present administration have to look at the situation of the country. What is happening is rampant. Everybody, both the poor and the average people in the society, are suffering a lot. Let me give you an example about electricity bill, which is recent development that everybody has experienced it. Oh my God, this thing is consuming a lot of small-scale businesses. A lot of small-scale business has collapsed because of the electricity bill. To the extent that the PSCN and the present administration cannot settle to come down to see how they can be able to help small-scale business to cope up with the present situation of the economy. The situation is getting worse. For my example, for my shop, I used to buy electricity almost 10,000 naira. I'm a tailor fashion designer. So a 10,000 naira electricity unit is not enough for me per day. To which, if I calculate everything, the electricity bill I pay in a year is times 4 of my shop rent.
Joseph Moses, ATN News, Abuja.
Speaker, House of Representatives Honorable Tajuddin Abbas is calling on governors and civil social organizations have called on Nigerians to continue to participate in the electoral process to deepen democracy in the country. Nigeria marks Democracy Day on June 12 to mark the 1993 presidential election, acclaimed to have been won by Chief MKO Abiola, adding that from 1999 until 2018, Nigeria was marking Democracy Day on May 29, but ex-President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018 officially changed Democracy Day to June 12th. The change was made to recognize the sacrifices of those who fought for democracy, including Abiola, and to commemorate the struggle against military rule that ultimately led to Nigeria's current democratic governments. While Nigeria is celebrating 25 uninterrupted years of democracy, in a democratic dispensation that started in 1999, stressing that in a congratulatory message to Nigerians on the occasion of the 25th anniversary of unbroken democratic governance, assured that more dividends of democracy will come their way soon. A statement issued and signed by his special advisor, media and publicity, Musa Krishi Abbas, said Nigeria involved in the past 25 years, adding that the dividends of democracy are bound to reach more Nigerians. The Plateau State Governor, Kele Mufwang, in a statement and just to mark Democracy Day, signed by his Director of Press and Public Affairs, Giang Bere, called for sustainability of democracy for the development and progress of the country, adding that democracy remained the best form of governance where the people had the power to decide who governed them, while political stakeholders must uphold fairness, equity, justice, and the rule of law in all electoral process. Analyst says President Tinubu's speech on Democracy Day concerning the Nigerian Labour Congress over the new minimum wage is still something to hope for. Speaking on Atlantic Television Blowout, a public affairs analyst, Ekie said the president communique concerning the federal government's position with the Nigerian Labour Congress is civil.
Of Nigerian Labour Congress is still ongoing. So the presidential statement is like a law which ought not to be ridiculed. So if a discussion is ongoing, he has said we are on it because this is one of the matters that Nigerian workers expect that the president should claim knowledge of, which he affirmed. So for him to categorically come up and say, this is the amount we are going to pay or thereabout, which you know is still in view. So I think the president has not done.
In view of the current administration and the dividends of democracy, Ekie spoke on the developments.
God for our democracy, we believe that we will get better. Okay. And I remind you, this is a government of hope.
This is coming after President Tinubu's Democracy Day speech, which citizens have described as an unrelatable and just history. National Safe School Response Coordination Center under the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps have issued a stern warning to schools across country about the importance of adhering to safety guidelines. The commander of the center, Ahmed Abu Dorin, said deliberate failure to comply could result in significant sanctions, said the critical nature of the Safe School policy, which aims to ensure security and prevent violence in educational institutions nationwide. Abu Dorin clarified that the policy was currently not enforceable by law, but highlighted the government's expectation that schools would willingly adhere to the guidelines. The commander also discussed the government's effort to institutionalize school safety and security within higher education, as well as plans to introduce specialized programs on school safety, potentially up to the doctorate level. Abu Dorin said the growing importance of these issues, drawing parallels to fields like disaster management and peace and conflict studies, which have only recently been established as distinct academic disciplines. Analysts have stressed on the need for collaboration between the public and private sectors towards restructuring of Nigeria's educational system. Speaking on Atlantic Television Society Watch, public affairs analyst Wealth Oduyemi said collaboration is key in rescuing and meeting up with pressing educational trend in the world.
Sean, experience is not one-off experience. Even after university or higher education of learning, there are forums. The reason why you have seminars, trainings, and retrainings is to better dust off and compare notes with better and new ways of doing things. And this can only come by through consistent collaborative initiatives that will better enhance the educational system of any given society.
Wealth Oduyemi also said the call from the United Nations on education is to secure and safeguard the future of Nigeria and its citizenry.
If you limit the troubles that your inactiveness is creating now, because your less involvement, and going all out to dissipate necessary resources to see it through. Now, you may be thinking that you are saving cost, but apparently you are building a major, bigger problem in the future. So some persons who organization as the one representing the UN in this fashion, part of the reason they may come up with this prompting is to save the future.
This is coming after the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations called on the governments at all levels around the world to take the lead in education. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has urged Nigerians to remain optimistic in facing of ongoing challenges and to support the armed forces of Nigeria in combating terrorism and criminal activities. He also pledged loyalty and that of his personnel to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Bola Tinubu, adding that the military under him would work to strengthen democracy in the country, adding that as per the military's acclaimed accomplishments over the past year in its fight against terrorism and other vices, many regions of the country have continued to experience insecurity. The acting director, Defense Information Brigadier General Tukur Gasau, quoted the CDS to have stated this in a statement issued to commemorate the Democracy Day celebration, and also appealed to all Nigerians to remain positive. Head of the service says the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Ibrahim Lamua, has been suspended over sexual harassment allegation. The head of service for Lashade Yemi Esan said the Permanent Secretary would be on suspension pending the outcome of a probe into the allegation against him. This is coming after a petition submitted by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, against Lamua, while the head of service constituted a committee to look into the matter. The complainant in the petition submitted by Tuga was one Simisola Ajayi, who accused Lamua of serial sexual harassment, while Ajayi is a petition filed by her lawyer, Femi Falana San, outlined alleged instances of harassment. In a letter addressed to the head of service on May 27, 2024, Tuga expressed his concern over the serious nature of the allegation involving the Permanent Secretary. National Association of Nigerian Students says it has rejected the bill seeking a single term of 6 years for the president and state governors, describing it as anti-democratic and an attempt to stifle citizens' choices. It is coming after 35 members of the House of Representatives, under the auspices of reformed-minded legislatures, had last week proposed a bill seeking a single term of 6 years for the president and state governors. The lawmakers equally seeking for rotation of the presidency among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, urging that the proposition, if implemented, would lead to a reduction in the cost of governance. Nans, while reacting to the bill, called on Nigerians, pro-democracy groups, organized labor and trade unions to mobilize against the bill. Speaking at a press conference in Abeokuta, Ogun State on Thursday, the National Clerk of the Senate of SAN, Yekini Adewale, described the bill as smokescreen to divert the attention of Nigerians from the current economic pains and agonies that Nigerians are facing, and threatened to mobilize students across the country in the protest against the bill, while stressing that if the bill is passed into law, it will stop accountability, probity, as well as transparency and responsibility on the part of political leaders. Business news. President Bola Tinubu says he has approved a new minimum wage that the government can afford. The president said these at a dinner to mark the Nigerians' 25 years of unbroken democracy in Abuja and thanked those who stood by him over the years, promising Nigerians that he wouldn't depart from the tenets of democratic government. The president also pledged to bring down the prices of food items by tackling the menace of banditry that has forced many farmers away from their farms, and also rallied Nigerians to support his administration's effort to strengthen the economic and informed citizens that a bill for a new minimum wage will be sent to the National Assembly soon, among other things. This is coming after the government and the Labour last Friday failed to reach an agreement on the new minimum wage, and Labour again dropped its demand from 494,000 to 250,000, while the government added 2,000 naira to its initial 60,000 naira and offered workers 62,000 naira, and both sides submitted a report to the president, who is expected to make a decision and send an executive bill to the National Assembly for a new minimum wage. Organized Labour has rejected President Bola Tinubu's claims that an agreement has been reached on new national minimum wage in his national broadcast to make Democracy Day. Tinubu said a consensus had been reached on the long-debated new minimum wage between the federal government and organized labor. He disclosed this in his national broadcast to mark the 2024 Democracy Day in Abuja, adding that an executive bill will soon be sent to the National Assembly to formalize the new minimum wage agreement, adding that his administration chose a democratic approach over dictatorship, addressing the demands of labor unions. A statement by the acting president of Nigerian Labour Congress, Prince Adewale Adeyanju, said there was an agreement reached by the tripartite committee on the national minimum wage at the time negotiation ended on Friday, June 7th, 2024. This response comes after President Tinubu's address, which indicated a resolution had been achieved on the wage discussion, thereby causing confusion and discontent among the ranks of organized labor, and urged the president on his plan to fix the economy so that everyone has access to economic opportunity, fair play and compensation for his endeavor and labor. Organization of a petroleum exporting country says Nigerians' average crude oil production in May dropped to 1.25 million barrels per day from 1.28 million barrels per day recorded in April 2024. This represents a decline of 2.34% compared to 1.28 million barrels per day recorded in the previous month of April, and the data is from the OPEC monthly oil market reports for May. However, according to the secondary sources, OPEC reported that Nigeria's crude oil production increased by 74,000 barrels from 1.34 million barrels per day to 1.41 million barrels per day in May, and the total crude oil supply by OPEC members hit 40.9 million barrels per day. Accordingly, the total non-OPEC crude oil production averaged 14.29 million barrels per day in May 2024, 152,000 barrels per day lower month on month, with crude oil output increasing mainly in Mexico, while production in Russia and Kazakhstan decreased, while global demand for oil and the average price in May remained consistent with the previous month, showing worldwide growth in demand for crude oil at 2.2 million barrels per day. In May, the average crude oil price, according to the OPEC reference basket, decreased by $5.53 or 6.2% month on month, averaging 83.59% barrel, while oil fixtures prices also saw a decline, with the Intercontinental Exchange Brent front month contract dropping by $6 or 6.7% to an average of $83 per barrel. World Bank says the Central Bank of Nigeria's monetary publicity tightening may not effectively control inflation. In its Global Economic Prospect report, the institution said one of the significant risks to Nigeria's economic growth is a failure of the tightening policies to rein in inflation, while the CBN's aggressive interest rate hikes, inflation remains a significant challenge for the country. The monetary policy rate has increased by 750 basis points since February, reaching 26.25% in May. And the World Bank warns that this may not be enough to address the issue. The report predicts that Nigeria's economic growth will remain modest at 3.3% this year and 3.5% in 2025, while the non-oil economy is expected to experience sustained growth, while the oil sector is expected to stabilize as production recovers. The World Bank also highlights the issue of public debts in sub-Saharan Africa, which is expected to remain elevated over the forecast period, adding that if global interest rates remain high, debt services costs for countries in the region may rise, as well as increasing the risk of government debt distress. You're still watching the news in Atlantic Television Network. Up next, international tidbits. Over 1.5 million pilgrims across the world presently in Saudi Arabia are now set for this year's Hajj rite, which would begin on Friday with movement from Mecca to Muna ahead of the Arafat Day on Saturday. Specifically, a total over 1 million pilgrims, according to a report by the General Directorate of Passport, as quoted by the Saudi came into the country through its air, land and seaport, as at the end of Monday, June 3rd deadline for closure of entry to perform this year's holy pilgrimage. Meanwhile, the official spokesperson for Saudi's Ministry of Health, Dr. Mohammed Al Abdullahi, has warned that the major challenge facing this year's Hajj season is a significant rise in the temperatures, and advised pilgrims to adhere to the ministry's health guidelines, including carrying umbrellas to avoid direct sun exposure, drinking sufficient amounts of water, and taking rest periods between rituals to reduce fatigue and heat stress. He also said the measures were aimed to ensure the safety and health of pilgrims during the performance of Hajj rituals, adding that the ministry is making all efforts to provide healthy and safe environments for pilgrims amid the harsh climatic condition. The Saudi Arabian authorities had earlier announced the arrival of approximately 1,200,000 pilgrims from various countries around the world for 2024 Hajj, while the country's Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Antwerp Arabia, also assured that all stages of the journey have proceeded smoothly and that the pilgrims are in excellent health. Here now is ATN Sports News. In view of Nigeria's shock defeat to Benin in 2026 World Cup qualifiers, the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, says measures have been taken to address the team's woes and secure qualification for the prestigious tournament. When asked about the possibility of changing coaches or retaining Finito George, who was appointed in April, the NFF president said via X on Thursday, after responding with a mix of acknowledgement and optimism, said it is a very sad moment for Nigeria football, and we are working tirelessly in collaboration with the minister to come out with some holistic measures that would change the face of the entire system so that we can move forward. The NFF president, who was captioned to be speaking after a meeting with the Minister of Sports Development, John Eno, said qualification for the World Cup remains a realistic goal. The NFF president also highlighted the upcoming African Cup of Nations qualifiers as an opportunity to showcase the team's progress. Confederation African Football says the draw for the 2025 African Cup of Nations will hold in Johannesburg, South Africa on July 4th. The draw ceremony, according to CAF, will be conducted at Super Sports Studios in South Africa. 52 countries will be drawn into 12 groups of 4 teams, each to battle it out for places at the finals, while the qualifiers are scheduled to kick off in September 2024 to determine the 24 nations that would compete for honors in Morocco 2025. In attendance will be selected CAF legends, representatives of the participating teams, members of the local organizing committee of Total Energy's African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025, amongst others. Cote d'Ivoire won the last edition of the AFCON, scraping past Nigeria 2-1 in the final. Entertainment news. R&B sensation Chris Brown experienced an unexpected stage malfunction that left him stranded in mid-air. The mishap occurred as Brown was performing one of his hit songs under the influence, when suddenly the platform he was flying on got stuck, causing him to be suspended in the air. Although the talented artist remained calm and composed throughout the ordeal, the situation unfortunately led to the cancellation of both his scheduled meets and greets with fans and his club appearance following the show. Despite the setback, fans were understanding and supportive of Brown, sending messages of encouragement and well wishes during this unexpected turn of events. While reports said Brown is safe and uninjured, but understandably disappointed about the stage malfunction. Nigeria singer Fireboy DML has claimed that Afrobeat is now as big as hip-hop and R&B. He explained that Afrobeat isn't just a genre, but a culture and a movement with an incredible history. He also said his own brand of Afrobeat is unique. Nigerian singer Michael Adebayo Olayinka aka Ruga has opened up about his perspectives on love. He said he could love 5 women equally at the same time and that he falls in love easily, stressing that gifts and compliments make him develop feelings for ladies. Ruga also clarified that despite experimenting with other genres of music, he is chiefly an Afrobeat artist. Singer Habib Akikiola, aka Portable, has called out his colleague Davido for allegedly giving him bad advice during the recent dinner in the United States. He claimed that Davido, who signed for Sony Music, advised him against joining the label, urging him to sign with Empire instead. Portable alleged foul play, saying he is also aiming for a Grammy like Davido, while the DMW boss is asking him to join a label that might not influence the world for him. Speaking during a recent Instagram live session, Portable said he prefers helpers who would help him genuinely and not listen to gossip or give him bad advice. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. NSCDC in Rivers discovers illegal bunkering sites in cemeteries. EFCC plans arraignment of Yahaya Bello fixes June 27th. Tinubu expects bill proposing return to regional government Friday. NLC says no agreement with FG over minimum wage. 1.5 million pilgrims ready for her Hajj rites in Saudi Arabia. NFF president pledges action after Super Eagles wars. Chris Brown cancels club appearance after stage mishap. I am Wendy Aguma. Thank you for watching and good evening.